The common cold can happen to anyone, even our poor friend Hayes, who hasn't gotten sick yet this year. Today, he has touched many desks at school filled with bacteria. He comes home to jump onto his couch, touch a bacteria-infested remote control, and eat some Cheetos, all without washing his hands. He starts sneezing, he has a runny nose, and his fever spikes, and he has to stay at home for school the next day. Fevers are controlled by the hypothalamus in the brain. The main reason that fevers are triggered is to raise the temperature of the body, making it an unfavorable environment for bacteria and other pathogens to grow. One of the most important substances in creating a fever are pyrogens. Pyrogens are a substance that raises the set point of the thermostat, which triggers shivering, fat metabolism, constriction of blood vessels, and decreases the iron levels. Iron is very important to bacterial reproduction, so the less iron in the system, the less bacteria can reproduce. Fevers also help fight viral infections by increasing interferon production. Interferons are released in response to the presence of pathogens. They allow for communication between cells to trigger all the defenses of the immune system. The immune system functions a lot better when internal body temperature is high. So while fevers may seem uncomfortable, they really are doing your body a lot of good. An antigen is a substance that triggers the production of antibodies, which is an immune response. Each of these antibodies bind to antigens, like a substrate binds to an enzyme. These are what the immune system identifies as either foreign or local. If the antigen is foreign, like from a virus, then it will trigger helper T cells to find specific B cells to destroy the virus, thus triggering the immune system. Macrophages are white blood cells that seek and destroy invaders by engulfing them using phagocytosis. Nom nom! Helper T cells stimulate the immune response by both B and T cells. So when the macrophage engulfs the cold virus, it basically tells the helper T cell by the macrophage digesting the antigen, and it puts the antigens on their surface, and the helper T cells recognize it. Then the helper T cells stimulate both the B cells and the cytotoxic T cells by secreting chemical signals called cytokines. When it stimulates the B cells specialize into the plasma cells and the memory B cells. When it stimulates the plasma cells release antibodies for defense against your cold. So the antibodies clump the antigens together to make it much easier for the macrophage to find the antigen and engulf it. And when the B cell stimulates the memory B cells create a future immunity to that same cold antigen. At that same time, it stimulates the cytotoxic T cells to specialize into active cytotoxic T cells and memory T cells. The cytotoxic killer T cells destroy the infected cells or cancerous cells so that the cold virus will not spread any farther, and they do this by piercing a hole in the membrane, which causes the cell to burst. T cells are used when the bacteria gets into the bloodstream. T cells can specialize into 4 different types of cells. One of these are helper T cells, which stimulate the immune responses by T and B cells. The next T cell is the cytotoxic killer cell. They destroy viral infected cells or cancerous cells by piercing a hole in the membrane, which causes the cell to burst. The next type of T cells are the suppressor T cells, which inhibit immune responses by either B or T cells after infection is conquered. The final type of T cell are the memory T cells. They provide future immunity against an invasion by the same antigen. Our interactive question for this paper slide video: how do the helper T cells interact with the B cells to kickstart the immune response?